On tap, Snobby Beer.
Better beer authority, better beer.
Hi, I'm James Knott, and this is a special episode of the Better Beer Authority. We've been reaching out to the YouTube beer community, and today we're bringing you Max Spang, aka Snobby Beer, aka ERRATICTV. Max, thanks for coming today.
Thanks for having me.
So, give us a little bit of background. What inspired you to do beer reviews?
Well, honestly, one of the things that inspired me was the Better Beer Authority, and just other channels like Beer Chituba, Chad's Beer Reviews, Beer Geek Nation. I started watching all these videos, and to be honest, I thought, well, that looks fun. And these are, for the most part, it was like, well, these are just normal guys.
Yeah.
I would consider myself a normal guy, so.
You're a normal guy. Are you a beer geek?
I'm becoming a beer geek. I have plans to do an episode for Snobby Beer that is how to be a beer snob, and before I release that episode, I think I have to realize it. My whole thing was trying to, a lot of people say there's beer geeks and there's beer snobs, and I'm trying to bridge that gap between them, I guess.
So, I mean, you're definitely like advocating. Do you feel like you advocate for a certain type of beer?
I guess I'm one of the people. I think my tagline for my website is promoting the act of drinking beer or something, or promoting the love of the act of drinking beer, and basically, I don't care if you're a stout guy or a IPA guy or a malty guy or whatever. I think beer has kind of gotten a bad rep over the past 30 or 40 years. It's starting to come back, but people view beer as kind of the cheap way to get drunk, and there's so many great beers out there. I mean, Great Lakes, Founders. There's just so many ridiculously good beers. It's silly to drink beer for such a silly reason, I think.
I guess what you're implying is that maybe I'm getting like an anti-Budweiser, anti-Miller Coors vibe.
Not so much. I don't drink those beers unless someone buys them for me. But for the most part, I'm not against Budweiser, Miller, Coors. I'm against the perception that this is what beer is and this is how beer has to be across the board. Like, you drink beer if you're on a budget, and that's that. Which
so
you can do.
what would be a high-end drink stereotypically in your mind?
Like a really good wine or a champagne.
Yeah.
And to me, there's just as much complexity and everything else in beer as there is in wine, champaign, or anything else.
Well, I think most experts these days would say beer is more complex.
I would agree. I mean, beer is just one of those things that there's there's beers that you can drink a million of. There's beers that you can drink one and be done. So many different flavors and everything, and I'm still kind of young. So it's kind of silly for me to say that, back then,
back in the day.
Yeah, back in the day. But it's cool to see that, and maybe it's just me being.
Well, you said you're 22, so I assume You've only been drinking beer for less than 2 years.
Yes, that's as long as I've been drinking beer.
Because legally, there's no way
Right,
that you would have had a beer before that.
There would be no other way.
When you go to the store, what kind of beers are you looking for? And are those the same beers that you like to feature on your channel?
To answer your second question first, yes. Usually I'll go out and I'll buy the beers that I would do reviews of. Beers that I like to drink, I do homebrew. So if there's like a good solid style, like right now I have a chocolate coffee stout that I'm drinking, and that's just a style that I like to sit and drink. But as far as beers that I go out and buy, on one hand, I try to buy the beers that are kind of rare and I feel like I earned them.
Well, do you think your home brewing, does that inform your beer reviews or your tastes in beer, like knowing the ingredients from the home brew?
A little bit. When I started, actually, I was really kind of not really that into beer. And then I got a homebrew kit and I started brewing beer, and then it got me more into it. So I guess on one hand, it was learning what goes into a beer and learning the different flavors and everything and what makes those flavors. It did kind of help me pick up my beer tastes, I guess.
Okay. Well, what would you say are like your top 3 or 4 beers?
As far as like specifically, or
Yeah,
just in general?
the people at home are going to want some recommendations. So, you got some go-to beers that you throw out there for people?
Well, I wouldn't say they're go-to beers because I'll put it this way: there was 3 beers that I've reviewed so far that were 5 out of 5 perfect scores. One of them was Pliny the Elder from Russian River. Unfortunately, living in Ohio, it's kind of hard to get.
I just did a written review of that at betterbeerauthority.com. Check it out.
It's an excellent beer. I mean, if I could have that fresh all the time, I would drink it all the time. The other 2 beers I would say that I gave the 5 out of 5 to. One of them was the Devil Dancer from Founders. It's this triple IPA. It's not one of those beers that you can sit and drink 50 of, but it is a very, very complex beer. And I think if you were to describe someone the complexity of beer, you would, give them one of these. And the other is also from Founders, and that's KBS from Founders Brewing, like I said. Mm-hmm. Really great Imperial Stout.
I haven't had that one. Is it huge coffee?
The one I had, I have another one in my house, but I'm aging it for a while. I had the 2010 one, so it was already aged for a year, and then I think they age it for over a year before they even bottle it. So the coffee flavor, it was definitely there, and it was definitely prominent, but it kind of blended in with everything else, and it was just about as close to a perfect beer as you can get.
What is your opinion of the beer scene over in general these days?
Well, like I said, if you went out on the streets and asked 10 people, what is beer to you, I'm pretty sure most of them would say that's what I drink if I'm on a budget. And the biggest, I think I heard a statistic that the biggest beer industry, or the biggest sect of beer industry that's growing, is the craft beer industry, which is really awesome. Craft breweries are popping up left and right. It's very, very regional now, which is cool. Overall, I would say it's awesome, and it's getting a lot better. I think the beer, I guess the beer geek or snobby beer community is growing quite a bit.
Thanks for coming, Max.
Not a problem. Thanks for having me.
That's Max Spang, a.k.a. Snobby Beer, also found on ERRATICTV. He is putting out beer reviews. He told me he has 10 reviews out, but he has 50 in the can. So by my calculations, he has at least a year's worth of beer reviews coming out. So pay attention to his channel and see where it heads. The one thing I like about it is that he definitely takes some time to edit. And he's also into video production, so he's putting a little bit of extra effort into the video production. Anyways, I'm James Knott, and this is the Better Beer Authority.
Better Beer Authority.